Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome, everyone. This is Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here. Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
He's there, too.
Yeah, I'm over here. If you need me, I'll be right here.
Well, yeah, he's right there. Welcome back, everyone. This is Inside the Force, the podcast that celebrates and explores the galaxy far, far away and what a galaxy we are expanding with all kinds of stuff happening, including the brand new television show, Star Wars Rebels. We're going to talk about definitely I guess what they're calling the official premiere, the half-hour shows of Star Wars Rebels on Disney XD and the latest episode, Droids in Distress. So we'll definitely talk about that. A little bit of Episode 7 news, and get into some more deeper talks into actually where Rebels is going to go. So as always, you can reach us at InsideTheForce.com. You can listen to all the shows and episodes we have there. Follow the show at Inside the Force on Twitter, Inside the Force on Facebook. And, of course, you can email us at info@InsideTheForce.com. So, first up, Episode 7 is what we always hit on first. Interesting topic today, I think. Right, Case?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, pretty strange. While I was at work, I know it seems like a tradition. I'll be like at work doing something busy, and then suddenly I'll get a text from my buddy Cody with like this crazy Star Wars reveal. Like, he was the one who told me about the merger at first, and he's the one who told me about like all like some casting announcements as well. So once again, I got a message from him saying like, dude, there's like tons of leaked concept art released from Star Wars Episode 7. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm thinking it's fake, but I give it a look-see, and it's pretty interesting stuff. Now, for those who aren't familiar with concept art, essentially, this is just I guess you may call it an artist's rendering of, or like, you know, a hired artist, a storyboard artist, whatever, rendering of perhaps what a scene from the movie may look like, or like a shot from the movie may look like. It's just a glorified storyboard, I guess, in a way. Right. So that's like very detailed, like painted. Some of it's painted concept art. Some of it's CG, like made to look really real. Like sometimes it's got a mix of CG and like more practical photos. I mean, there's about, how many are there? I don't even figure how many.
There's at least a dozen of them. 15.
Yeah, let's say 12. Yeah. And most of it is just of scenery kind of stuff, landscape stuff, stuff that looks like maybe the Abu Dhabi desert, or that newest location where we saw the X-Wings, was it Greenham, I think, Commons or something like that. But there's some of like a broken down TIE fighter, some creatures that we've never seen before, just different ones of like stormtroopers, some other characters. Probably some of the most interesting ones, though, and you can go on, probably just Google it, like leaked Star Wars concept art. It's pretty much everywhere at this point. Some of them that were really interesting. One is a image concept art of, and this is the more realistic looking one, almost like it's right up from the set, pretty much. It's an AT-AT, an Imperial Walker that looks defunct and very old. It's like broken down. It's on its side.
Yeah. And
it looks like someone has made a little home in this AT-AT. There seems to be some kind of craft inside the almost stomach of the AT-AT where someone has made kind of a cave of sorts. This fits a lot of rumors that we've been hearing, dealing with a certain character. and there's other concept arts of more characters that we've potentially heard of, holding what appears to be, obviously appears to be, a Darth Vader helmet, the Darth Vader helmet. And I mean, it's pretty interesting stuff. It does coincide with what we've been hearing. Some may say, when I first saw it, I actually said, this is too good to be true. Like this, it's too perfect to the rumors, so it has to be fake. But I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I don't know. It could be fake, but it looks pretty legit. The only problem I have with it is one of the concept artist renderings is of Chewbacca has a robotic right arm.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest one. But other than that, everything seems like it could be legit. Could be real. What was your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah. My initial thought was it seems pretty legit, mainly because it's very similar to a lot of the concept art we saw from the prequels. Right. Some of that stuff was actually released, and you can see some of the concept art of like characters and locations.
Right.
This actually and this is a little more detailed than that. This does have locations and scenes, or locations and some characters, but it actually looks like you were saying, some of them look more like snapshots, from actually what is happening in a scene, which usually I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to, because like you said, a lot of it does back up rumors that we've been seeing. The biggest one is, the big report that came out about Luke a few weeks ago.
Right.
And the apparent rendering of an image that came out with, this, and spoiler warning, I don't want to tell people that haven't seen it or don't want to know about it, but, there was a rumor going around with a rendering of a guy holding the Darth Vader mask, and he's very mechanical,
Right.
And people are rumored saying, "Hey, that's Luke," and this kind of supports that shot because it has actual concept art of that very scene.
Right.
But there's nothing that says it's Luke and still or anything like that. So I don't know. It's hard to
because one of the rumors is that Luke was captured by almost like a breed of Inquisitors.
Yes.
Type people, and one of them was like a bionic, almost a cyborg type character. And so, and I've kind of heard people say like some of this may be recycled concept art or like old concept art from the scrapped Michael Arndt story. But there are, most of what we see though is coinciding with what we've been hearing recently. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, just like with everything else, it's just adding to the pile of like, well, when are we gonna? It's just adding more to. It could be, it could not be. I don't know.
Well, regardless, honestly, real or not, it's awesome looking.
It is, yeah. That's pretty.
I
cool
mean,
stuff.
it is phenomenal looking. If this is at all what we're gonna see, I am forward excited. You know what I mean?
Right.
This doesn't damage my view of episode 7 at all.
Right.
It just heightens it because, man, just seeing the AT-AT lane there, just seeing a TIE fighter, and there's still stormtroopers walking around. So
yes, I mean, and that's probably the biggest surprise so far with episode 7 is that the Empire and the Rebels are still very much around, it seems.
I know, right? 30 years
so far. Yeah. I mean, it's bizarre to think of. I mean, I guess it just leaves the anticipation growing more, I suppose, because it's what happened? How's this happening? It seems like, why is it taking place 30 years and not like 2 days after? It seems like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make a prediction.
Okay, go for it.
And I don't know. I thought maybe we talked about this or maybe we mentioned it. But I believe that we are going to get some kind of teaser in December.
Like a year before?
That's JJ's MO.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
1 year before.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we got the train wreck a year before Super 8 came out.
Right.
We got the Statue of Liberty head falling in the city 1 year before Cloverfield came out. Both, now he didn't direct that, but they were JJ projects.
Right.
Star Trek, we got the building of USS Enterprise 1 year before it came out. So I think
Well,
I think sometime, I don't know what movie is coming out in December. That's a Fox movie or a Disney movie.
well, that's what I was gonna kind of piggyback on top of your prediction. I'll see that bet and I'll raise you that it will premiere in front of the Disney film Into the Woods, which will open Christmas Day.
Very good prediction. I think you're probably right on that. Yep.
I mean, that would be a good tradition that Abrams will most likely keep going. So that's a pretty good bet.
I'm pretty. I mean, I would almost.
You're going all in.
I would almost bet everything I own in that, except maybe my Stormtrooper outfit. I probably won't bet that.
Yeah.
But I would. I honestly would with production wrapping. Early November. With the stuff like this getting leaked out, I mean, it's almost like you almost have to give the fans something, like
yes,
what does it look like? What is the story? Just something. Even I'm telling you, even if it's only like 30 seconds, in one shot. I mean, it's got to be something. But I do believe it's going to be a year. I think it's that whole title, next year. Or next Christmas or something like that. It's because December, what is it, December 18th next year? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man, that would be... And you better believe it, I'm going to go see that movie, even if I just watch the trailer and leave.
Even it's saying that even if we don't hear anything like rumors like, oh, it's going to appear from this movie, I'm going to probably go try to see every Disney and Fox film in December just for the odds of seeing a Star Wars trailer.
I think that... I think that animated one comes out early November. So what, like the Big Hero 6?
Yeah.
So it won't be in front of that. So yeah, what's that one? That's a live action one, right? That you're talking about, Into the Woods.
Yes, that's supposed to be a pretty big film.
Is that
because it's got
Johnny
Depp?
A lot
of stars in it. Johnny Depp's in it. Meryl Streep is in it.
Yeah,
several other big names.
That's if I were to put all my money somewhere, it would be on that movie for sure, because that just totally makes sense. So that's so I really think that's what's going to happen with that. I think that's going to be the first glimpse, and then of course, I think there's going to be a majority of information and or scenes at Celebration in April.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think we'll get a little teaser in December. I think we'll get more teased, more clips and stuff. I mean, you imagine the lines that are going to be for any Episode 7 panels at Star Wars Celebration. I mean, ridiculous. So I guarantee we see a ton of their stuff then. And then, of course, all through the summer, you got it. Next summer is going to be just bombarded of trailers and stuff. And then, man, I mean, middle to end of next year is just going to be unbelievable marketing for Episode 7.
We're going to be talking probably a lot every episode.
Oh my gosh! And then of course the second season of Rebels,
right? And
comic
books
and oh my gosh, yeah, all the comics and not only that, but the comic book stuff that we're getting right now is mainly original trilogy related. Right. Nothing has been explored or even hinted at that there's going to be stuff tied to Episode 7 around that time yet. So there's still a ton of stuff that could, get announced next summer or so that would tie in novels, comics, like you said. Even, I'm telling you, even whatever rumored connection that Rebels apparently is going to have with Episode 7, So, like, we still don't know what that older gentleman, what who he's playing.
Max von Sydow.
Von Sydow, yeah. I mean, it's like, who knows? So that's a secret, and I don't know. It's exciting. We're still over a year away, and it's unbelievably exciting.
Yeah.
So,
very good.
And that's pretty much it for 7, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, of course, we are in the beginning stages of the fall TV schedule, and we've been finally the premiere, the ongoing series of Star Wars Rebels is now upon us. Last weekend, for everybody, last week, basically everybody got what they called the Star Wars Rebels movie, Spark of Rebellion. That has been playing all over the place on Disney and Disney XD. But now, as of Monday of this week, we, in the U.S. anyway, we have the premiere on Disney XD at 9 o'clock on Mondays Eastern Time. Star Wars Rebels. And this past week, kind of confusing because, I don't know if you noticed, Casey, but on StarWars.com, it was weird that they actually listed this as Season 1, Episode 1, even though we've got Spark of Rebellion. So I don't know. So I don't know if this counts. Did you ever figure that out? If this is actually Episode 1 and we still have 15 more episodes? Or
I haven't officially found it because to me
that's what it sounds like it is. Droids in Distress.
StarWars.com?
Yeah, StarWars.com is listing this as Season 1, Episode 1. So I think they're treating Spark of Rebellion very similar to the Clone Wars movie. Not really part of the episode titles because it's a longer episode, even though it's basically 2 episodes. But
I would go with that because, like, the other day I looked on the IMDb, and like IMDb had listed Droids in Distress as Episode 3,
right,
instead of 1. But I'm checking back now, and now they've listed Droids in Distress as 2, and then this next episode, Fighter Flight, as Episode 4. So they're skipping 3. So don't count IMDb, whatever listing they have. They've been changing it. So I'd go with Star Wars. We'll obviously go with whatever the website says.
Yeah.
So I would say Droids in Distress is Episode 1, and we have 15 more after that.
I would venture to say that's would be probably right. Yeah. So they're definitely listing it as Episode 1 of Season 1. So anyway, we got it. Droids in Distress. Case, what's your reaction to it?
I loved it. I think I wasn't sure if I would like it because it was. I don't know if it'd be like a really droid-centric episode because sometimes in the Clone Wars, the droid episodes were sometimes my least favorite episodes.
Right.
But this one was awesome. We got C-3PO and R2-D2. And at first I was thinking like their involvement was a bit of a stretch, but it was still cool to see them. But at the very end, because the whole time I was thinking like, aren't they supposed to be with Captain Antilles? Like they're supposed to be owned.
Right.
Why are they working for this stuff? And then at the very end, all is made clear. We see Bail Organa and an awesome ending to the episode, which gets into a whole new can of worms, I think, for the whole show. But I thought it was, and still I love it because we're getting more of Ezra and just learning more about him. And actually this episode we learned a lot about Zeb, kind of his backstory, saw a different side of him. I thought it was a really great episode diving into the characters way more so than what we have already seen. And I think, I guess it's needed because we need to know these characters for us to rally behind them. So I love this episode. I have to probably watch it again if I like it more than the Spark of Rebellion, but this is a fantastic episode. Loved it. Loved the character, plots that we saw in it, the development that we saw, and it's good to see some original characters.
Yeah, and it's what's really neat. It really does tie completely with the Clone Wars.
Right.
I'm just assuming he's the same guy that voiced Organa in Clone
Sounded like
Wars. Yeah, because we already know that James Arnold Taylor did Obi-Wan, and Anthony Daniels was back for C-3PO in this episode.
Right.
So it's really neat that they really have made an effort and successfully connected the two series together, even though they're 15 years apart as far as timeline goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was very cool, and I didn't anticipate us getting it that early. Like,
I
you
know.
what I mean? Like all of a sudden,
Right.
3PO and R2 walk in. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. There was just some great scenes. I think that Hera and Ezra have some great scenes together, both in Spark of Rebellion and in this episode. I thought we would get some Inquisitor, but we haven't. We're not there yet. I guess maybe that's next episode. I think. But it's weird. It's one thing. It's one thing that I haven't. I'm okay with seeing concept art or trailers and stuff like that, but I really have stayed away from, and not really intentionally, have seen future Rebel stuff.
Right.
And reading about rumors and stuff like that with Rebel. I don't know technically right now who's showing up or when, or I knew that Bail Organa was going to show up. I didn't know he was going to show up in the first episode.
Right.
But it's pretty neat. I think this has been a great start. I think it's already, rating wise, it's the highest rated show on Disney XD right now already.
Yeah.
This has been phenomenal, and I think I talked about this last week, or maybe I didn't. But StarWars.com is releasing a behind the scenes look of every episode.
Yeah.
On their YouTube channel called Rebels Recon. Have you seen any of that yet?
I saw. Is there just one out so far? I saw the one about Droids in Distress.
That's the second one. They did one on Spark of Rebellion.
Okay.
And they did a second one. The second one is after, Droids in Distress. So check those out. All you got to do is go to StarWars.com or go to the YouTube channel and check those out. Great behind the scenes. They're talking to the artists, Dave Filoni and some of the story group guys. Pablo Hidalgo's been on there talking about some, continuity issues. Just really cool. I mean, if anybody's I'm a big fan of DC Comics, and they have a thing called DC Access that they do the same kind of thing. It's really cool, hosted by one of their social media correspondents, and it's just really well done and gets you into the kind of what happens and the concepts and stuff like that. And I think there was Spark of Rebellion where one of the visual effects guys was talking about how that Rebels was really, conceptualized by Filoni way back when he was making Clone Wars.
Huh.
Yeah. And I saw, and there's a little interview there too with Filoni talking about how like 2 weeks before the premiere is when he sat down and showed it to George. And
the premiere of Rebels?
Yes. Premiere of Spark of Rebellion.
Okay.
And he showed Spark of Rebellion to George, and he said George loved it. So,
wow.
He's like, he was saying how, even though he's not technically part of it, he's, obviously a big part of Star Wars still, and we want, his approval and his blessings and stuff like that, which is awesome. I mean, I said this once, and I keep saying, Filoni is like, he's the perfect person for this, to take Star Wars over. I know, and what's weird is that, JJ's directing Episode 7. Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm, but it feels like Filoni is like the one that's basically the George Lucas replacement almost.
Right.
It's weird. It's and everybody, I think everybody almost looks at him like that, Mm-hmm. What, I mean, do you think that?
Absolutely. I mean, with I just think he does a lot more than what we know behind the scenes. Because, I mean, he is a part of Story Group. So that alone gives him a lot of clout. And I just think all of his firsthand work with George Lucas has given him that authority. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I would just like to know exactly what kind of hand he does have in all the stories. Is he like the final say or
Right.
what? I mean, I just think he does a lot more than what we think. So I agree that he is probably the kind of unofficial George Lucas replacement.
Maybe the official, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, because I wonder, like with episode 7, how much does he, it's like,
Yeah.
Filoni, you
What
can't
is he
do
doing?
that because we're doing it this. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. You, I can do it. You can't do it. I don't know. Who's, who's sitting there saying who has the say of characters? His stuff happens before, obviously. So I don't know, man. That's tough.
Well, because I think that if episode 7 is still going off of George Lucas's treatments, I mean, I don't know if they are or not, really, at this point. But I would think that whatever George Lucas had set up for episode 7 would be the kind of the model to work around. But
Right.
I mean, at this point, I have no idea in what shape those treatments would be in, honestly.
So, so George and Stress, very, very good. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I felt like trying out a little live tweeting as the show was going on. Got some good responses.
I was thinking about doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to, Flash, which comes on, or not Flash, I'm sorry, Gotham, comes on at 8 o'clock, before. And I was putting Sam, my daughter, to bed, and I was finishing kind of watching that in the other room, and then that was kind of getting over, and, I told Sam, I was like, hey, a new Rebels show's coming on. Do you want to watch it? She's like, yeah. So I laid in bed with her, and we started watching it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do some live tweeting, because that's the first time, to be honest. That's the first time I watched the show live in,
Right.
I don't know, over a year probably. I mean, I get DVR everything. And but yeah, I was doing that, and I was getting good responses, getting good tweets, and Star Wars actually even retweeted some stuff.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
Yeah, they retweeted at the very end when I said, great episode, keep it up, or and they retweeted that. So
now they're aware of us.
Yes, yeah, we're hopefully on their radar. Come on, man. Yeah, so I'm going to try to actually do that every week. I'm going to, in case you can, obviously you can join in too. And
yeah, I mean, I was really thinking about it because I was watching it off the Watch Disney XD app. So I mean, I was really multitasking. So I was debating whether or not to do live tweeting. Then I noticed that you were doing it. I was like, good.
So that does come on live.
It does, yes.
Nice.
Commercials and everything.
Oh wow, nice. Okay, good. And speaking of Disney XD app, next week's episode is already out and available on there.
Yeah.
So
that's wild. Fighter's Flight.
Yes.
Fighter Flight. I think Fighter Flight. Yeah.
Fighter Flight. So if you want to watch next week's episode, you can go. I don't know if you have access to the Disney XD app or Watch Disney. I think you have to have a certain cable providers and stuff like that. But
right.
But yeah, you can watch it. I'm going to try to watch it here. We know about it, so I'm going to try to watch it before that happens. But we don't want to. We kind of decided on this show we're just going to give you what's been officially aired. So because we're going to talk spoilers, obviously. So we don't want to spoiler. And that's what I found out about doing the live tweeting, because I felt like I didn't want to spoil anything, because there's people on the West Coast that aren't going to get it for 3 hours.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, because I've noticed in other live tweets, like when Being Human was on Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
You'd have the actors kind of live tweeting along with the show, and they would be talking about stuff that just happened, kind of, and they would in a way be spoiling it.
I know, right?
I think that's just kind of. the thing you have to be aware of. Like,
you have to avoid Twitter for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's other podcasts out there that I saw that were tweeting out, stills, and
Yes.
kind of talking. And I was like, well, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to spoil anything. I didn't want to say, because I didn't say, hey, there's 3PO and R2. I said, oh, familiar faces.
Right.
So I I don't know, because at first I was like, do I want to reveal it? Because what if someone is all of a sudden, really reading and saying, what? 3PO's on it? I didn't know that,
Yeah. Sarava.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm probably going to be more just kind of talking about my expressions and reactions to it versus
You just do a bunch of selfies. Those are photos, like your shock and awe expressions
right
as you're watching it.
But I did put out there. I did put out one that got retweeted a ton. Where I put out there. I don't know if you saw it. Like I said, there was a big shot of the Star Destroyer, and every time I see a Star Destroyer, I want to go buy one and hang it up on because me and my daughter saw it in the Lego aisle. They got the new Star Destroyer Lego. Oh my god, it's awesome! And I just want to go buy it.
How big is that thing?
Oh, it's huge. It's probably it's probably like 4 or 5 feet long.
Jeez,
and you can open it it can open up, and you can put the figures inside of it. That's cool. So I'm like, oh my god, I want to go buy that and hang it up on my ceiling and just stare at it, and everybody was like retweeting it and favoring it. So it was fun. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's actually a really cool little Easter egg in that episode. If you guys were noticing, when R2D2 and C3PO were on that little transport,
yes,
they were sent to the back of the transport of that craft, and they're talking to another protocol droid and another astromech. Well, they're talking to Chopper and another protocol droid. Well, like that's a kind of a cool little cameo of sorts of Ralph McQuarrie's original concept art of C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yes, that's right.
So so it's like what we know as C-3PO and R2-D2 and the original versions of what they're supposed to look like, kind of like meeting face to face. It's a really cool little thing to see there.
And also,
I like that they're
yeah. No, that's great. What were you about to say?
I was saying, like, that's just cool to see all that stuff come to life.
Yes.
Like McCoy stuff.
And another Easter egg part of that, too, and I didn't realize this because I haven't been there, but I heard, or they talked about it on that Rebels Recon, was that actual ship, like you said, that they were getting on, is actually like the ship that you get in Star Tours.
That's what I thought.
Yes, and the droid apparently in the front is the same droid on the Star Tours. That's a Disney or Universal or something like that, or
Disney. It's Disney World. I was wondering that after that scene was over. Like that seemed like the Star Tours ship.
Yeah, that was it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
very cool. I love it.
Okay, so with that, I was kind of wanting to and then basically right before we get to that is no other really news on comics and novels. Tarkin is starting to ship, apparently, which is coming out November 4th.
Yeah.
Star Wars Tarkin, the next novel tied to that's going to be exciting. I really want to get into that one too. But that's really novel. Nothing really new from the novel or comic world. Oh, yes, there was Comic World.
One comic, yeah.
One comic was announced at New York Comic Con this past weekend, and that would be Star Wars Kanan. And I'm
trying to bring it up really quick.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring it up too. But it is it was a prequel book, basically
The Last Padawan.
The Last Padawan, yes, set during the Clone Wars. It looks like, and right before I guess everybody, the whole Order 66 happens. Do you have it up?
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover art right now.
Do you have cool. Who's the writer on it? Do you know? Does it say?
Give me 1 second here. So it's prequel comic. Let's see, and Marvel, of course, and then of course it's canon.
Yes, let's see. And I think release is in April of next year, is when it will be released. And it talks about how he's a Padawan, and his master. I'm bringing it up now. So
it seems to be written by Greg Weisman himself. the producer
The producer of
of Rebels,
Oh, really?
and art by Pepe Larraz.
You're exactly right.
I don't know if he's just
No, you're
is
right.
he writing,
Exactly. Yeah.
I guess
Written by
that's
Greg
crazy.
Wiseman and drawn by Pepe Larraz, and is coming April 2015. Yeah, and it basically will show how Kanan survived the rise of the Empire. So that is a brand new comic to add to the list.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool, very cool. Yeah, the cover art of the first issue is out. You can Google that and check that out. It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
And his I was looking up his master, the name. Master
cannot
Deepa Bilaba.
Huh.
Deepa Bilaba is, I think it's a woman, his master. So
Yeah.
follows them too. So sweet.
Awesome.
Check that out. I'll be reading that
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely. I just love that we're getting all of these stories and backstories, because I know some people, for in some situations for good reason, are like, I don't think there needs to be a backstory for this character. They would rather prefer it be shrouded in mystery, like Yoda, almost like there should be no prequel to Yoda's origin kind of deal. But I like the thought of having all this knowledge. If I wanted to learn of Kanan's backstory, I can just go read the comic and know that, so I can learn more about the character. So I think I love that we're going to be getting that constantly. Like we're going to be getting probably, eventually we'll get a backstory of Ezra, probably in Rebels, but we're going to get stories told between 3 and 4. We'll get tons of stories told between 6 and 7. So if you wanted to know that information, you can always go find it and read it and learn it. I just very excited about how that's going, how it's going to be coming about.
Yes, very awesome. We will, I guarantee it, eventually get some Yoda past somehow. All right, so what I wanted to kind of talk about briefly was, now that we've seen Spark of Rebellion, now that we've seen the first episode, I actually started thinking, now that we have this series that takes place 5 years before New Hope, obviously it's been over 30 years since episode 4 came out, but there obviously isn't any presence of these characters in episode 4.
Right.
So I started thinking, okay, what could have happened to them? Or are they still around? Are they actually, what actual role do they play in the rebellion? Because now, Bail Organa is aware of them,
Right.
and what they're doing. Does he kind of connect with them again, or do we even see Bail anymore for a while? I don't know. What do you think about these 5 characters? What their fate is going to be the next 5 years?
I don't know if it's just what I hope to see, but maybe I actually think that we're going to be getting into the actual rebellion pretty quickly. Because if this, 5 years, Bail Organa seems to have already kind of made some initial steps toward a alliance against the Empire, like the actual rebel alliance. So I think right now he's like in the recruiting phase almost. And so I think he's going to reach out to these guys pretty quickly and start to recruit them. I feel like that will be
yeah. And
because
there's been mentions of Tarkin already.
Yes, yeah. I just think that because the show's called Rebels, that's the whole point. I feel like that's at least what the viewers have been led to believe, is that this is essentially the rebellion that's that we see in episode 4, the start of it. So I think it'll deliver on that pretty quickly, and we'll see the rebellion maybe the next even few episodes start to become slightly more organized. I think just each season we'll see it a little more organized, a little more, and more.
Yeah, because technically, in Spark of Rebellion, when Kanan says, I'm going to let everyone in on the secret. I guess that could be, dubbed the reveal of the Jedi. I mean, that was the first Jedi seen since Order 66. Yeah. I mean, is that probably right to say?
I guess.
I mean,
probably, yeah.
I don't know what stories we're going to have of Vader hunting down Jedis, in that time frame. Obviously he probably did. He probably hunted down some, or the Inquisitors were out there hunting down some during that 14-year gap. So, but I wish maybe we'll get it. I wonder if there is an actual number of Jedi that actually did survive. In the expanded universe, there was a number. It was like 87 or something like that, 87 or 85 or something like that. But who knows if there were that many that actually survived, or even if they know what number it is. But I'm kind of leaning towards. I hate to say it. I don't want to sound too dark, but I mean, it's possible that these guys don't survive by episode 4.
For the first season?
No, I'm just by episode 4. Oh, I see
what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, I know this concept wasn't around when episode 4 came out. But how do you, where do you explain that they're at? Because everybody is on Yavin when pretty much everybody's on Yavin when episode 4 happens. So here, I just had a thought. How would a purist would kill me for saying this, but how crazy would it be if like a re-rendering of episode 4 had someone walking in the hangar, like Sabine, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
or Chopper,
like Sebulba. Chopper. Oh, Chopper would be a good one to do. That'd be a good one. I kind of that's hilarious. I mean, I definitely think we will lose some characters. Like I said before in the show, I definitely believe we will lose Kanan in the first season.
Oh wow, really?
I think we'll lose him. If not the first season, definitely somewhere within the show we will lose. Like maybe the end of the first season. I think he's going to serve as that. He already has been serving as that Obi-Wan character. Yeah, that kind of motif of that wise old man, whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, how are you going to explain where Ezra is if he's getting trained as a Jedi?
And maybe that is the big connection that we've been rumored to hear, is the big connection between Rebels and Episode 7. Or maybe Ezra, I don't know, we're just spitballing, Ezra maybe is being, if this rumors with Luke is also true, like maybe he's kept on that kind of, he's being held prisoner with Luke, and he's been held prisoner this whole time, or maybe Ezra's been turned to the dark side, and but he'd be really old, he'd be about in his 40s, I guess, or 50s maybe, by Episode 7.
How old do you think he is right now?
I'd say 14, maybe. 14.
So technically, he's the same age as Luke.
Yeah, maybe. I guess maybe. Yeah, maybe he's 12. Just because he doesn't seem that he has any recollection of. I mean, nor would he. I guess if he was born same time as Luke. But I would say he's about the same age as Luke.
I would say that. I would say that too. I would say that too. Yeah,
give or take a year. Yeah.
Because it looks as if Sabine is around the same age. Looks like she's about a teenager as well.
Yeah, almost like an Anakin Padme age difference.
Right. That's interesting. That's a very. I wonder what about Vaughn? Whatever his name is. What's
Max
his name?
von Sydow. Yeah.
Von Sydow.
Max von Sydow.
Von Sydow.
That's how I'm saying it.
So what if Max is Ezra?
He might be a little old, too old.
Too old.
Honestly. He's in his 70s.
What if he's
80s,
Kanan?
I think. That's more possibility. Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's some people
that would blow my mind.
People have even gone as far to say that. I think some people have rumored, or
I think that's a possibility. I mean,
it is. Yeah.
What could even be more of a possibility is the opposite of what you're saying, is that Kanan loses Ezra.
Okay. That would be very dramatic and
maybe
heartbreaking.
Well, and then maybe kind of that's why he disappears. Maybe he goes away because he thinks he failed or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why there's no Jedi around apparently in Episode 4.
Yeah.
Because it makes you wonder, like, also, what's the very opening scene of Episode 4? It's Leia on a mission to find Obi-Wan Kenobi because her father, Bail Organa at the time, is saying, we need your help. Now is the time. We need your help. What is that? What sparked that?
Yes.
What made him at that point say, okay, now is the time to tell Obi-Wan we need to, it's the time. It's the time for the rebellion.
Yeah, well, think about exactly what Leia said. This is our most desperate hour.
Yes.
How is that the most desperate hour?
Yes. What came to that? What made...
Good. Yeah.
And I'm assuming I would be very... I would... According to the history of what we've seen from Filoni, I think he was cut... I really believe he was cut short in Clone Wars. Because I really believe the goal of the Clone Wars TV show from Filoni and Droids at the time when he was involved, I really think that they were going to lead right up to Episode 3. I mean, literally right up to the Battle of Coruscant at the beginning. I really do believe that. And right now, I'm kind of leaning towards. I really believe they're going to stretch this up until Episode 4 if they can.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of was going to be one of my questions to you is, and also like my opinion and maybe a question to you. I think that, in opposite of Clone Wars, that Rebels will take a more chronological and realistic time, like from season to season. Like if we're 5 years from Episode 4. Kind of 5 seasons is kind of the magic number for some shows.
I agree with you.
To reach syndication. So I feel like they have a 5-year plan of this is the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year in these characters' lives. The 5th year we will end with Episode 4.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. So I agree with that.
I really believe that too. And Clone Wars was tough because you didn't know the time frame because you knew all of it was squeezed into 3 years.
Right.
And it seemed like the Clone Wars movie, took place shortly after Episode 2. Even though, well, I can't really say that because Anakin's hair is a little longer, so
yeah,
it was a little longer, I guess, a little past Episode 2. But anyway, I really think that. I just really think Clone Wars was cut short because we never really saw a full conclusion to it, because we're still we still got, a whole nother Lost Mission season that really still didn't even, close it out necessarily.
Right.
So I really think I really think that they need to get to that point where, like you said, what made that become the most desperate hour?
Right.
And that would be really cool to find out because I think that changes that entire movie in my mind.
Yeah. And that's exactly the type of thinking that the story group has been showing is they watch those movies carefully and nitpick those little trivial details. And they go like, why is that kind of thing? So that's a good observation.
And honestly, I hate to even make more purists even mad, but like
who cares?
But that would make. I just think that would just even more illustrate the brilliance of Lucas to where he can, he started that in the middle of a story. Episode 4 was the middle of a story, and to be able to build around it and still and improve that concept is just phenomenal. This is great.
Yeah.
So.
Star Wars is continuing to break ground and continuing to be the best. I love it.
I totally. It's. I mean, we just before we started recording, we talked about this whole DC movies that are coming out that got announced today,
Yeah.
Over the next 5 years, you're getting all this stuff now. Just think what all we're going to have in 5 years from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Books,
Oh my
comics, movies, TV. I mean, this is ridiculous how much we're going to have, and it's all connected. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll wrap up this episode. Unless you got anything else, Case, you want to talk about?
No. No.
We just got to go on to trivia.
Trivia. Let's do
Our
this.
75th question. And that is going to come at number 1249.
Okay.
1249, which looks like it's going to be Revenge of the Sith era, and it is. This is, of course, from Obsessed with Star Wars, 2,500 questions. And here we go.
Oh, this is a good one.
What character did Joel Egerton play in Revenge of the Sith? What character did Joel Egerton play in Revenge of the Sith? A. Rui Nabari, which is in relation to, if anybody didn't know, I think that's Padme's father. Is it not?
Yeah, I think
her
right.
name.
The last name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recognize that last name.
B is Owen Lars. C, Captain Colton. And D, Captain Antilles.
Interesting. Well, I don't think I know who Captain Colton is.
I don't know who Captain Colton is either.
But I'm gonna go with B, Owen Lars.
Yeah, I don't know who Captain Colton is, but he's not the right answer. The right answer is B. I'm going with B, Owen Lars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question, though.
Good question.
Nice try.
Not many people may not know that. And there's rumors out there, again, that he may replay that role in a future movie.
Yeah. He's a great actor, so I would love to see him at some point.
Yeah, he's been in some good stuff afterwards. Lately, I think he was in the that movie Lone Survivor.
He's gonna be in a new movie here coming out with Christian Bale. That looks phenomenal. But,
oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good, and he wasn't able to kind of he didn't have much in episode 3, so he didn't really get to show his chops. Or he was in episode 2, barely at the very end of episode 3.
Yeah.
But I think he just had this talking like he said something like, "I guess I'm your brother.
Guess I'm your stepbrother." Yeah.
Stepbrother. Yeah. All right. So Inside the Force, that'll wrap it up. Casey Cooley's over there on Twitter at Kryptonian1138. I am D Cottingham21, and of course the show is at Inside the Force. We're going to try to do some live tweeting during Star Wars Rebels every Monday night at 9 o'clock on Eastern time. So yes, if you're in the West Coast and you're here listening to the show, probably don't go on Twitter around that time if you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Again, Disney XD, you can watch next week's episode of Star Wars Rebels right now. If not, of course, it is on Disney XD on Monday night. So check that out. All right. For Casey Cooley.
I'm terribly sorry about all this. After all, he's only a Wookiee. Sorry. Yeah. I don't think I've done a 3PO quote, but I want to do that.
I don't think you have either.
In honor of the Rebels episode.
Yeah, that's perfecto.
There you go.
And I keep forgetting to do this, but I keep wanting to say whenever we're recording, I like how Star Wars does. I like this. I like the day in Star Wars history that StarWars.com does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this day, which is October 15th, Lucasfilm and Dolby Laboratories announced the launch of a new theatrical digital 6.1 channel surround technology with the release of the Phantom Menace.
Awesome.
So that was in 1998. That announcement happened on October 15th. And of course, you know that in May of 99 is when episode 1 premiered.
Yep.
All right, so Thanks, everyone, for checking us out and listening. Check us out, like I said, InsideTheForce.com. We are part of the 21 Network. Check out 21network.com for all the latest episodes of all of our podcasts. And hope everyone has a great week. Check us out next week when we dive into the next episode of Star Wars Rebels and whatever news is floating out there in the Star Wars galaxy. For Casey Cooley,
goodbye, everybody.
Take care, everybody. And as always, may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.